and welcome to the Artistry House. We've got another edition of my three favourite things, and this afternoon we're going to be speaking to Sean Conboy. So Sean is actually quite local to us at Preston. He's a few miles away from his home. So good afternoon, Sean.
Good afternoon, Martin. Great to see you, mate.
Yeah, you well?
Yeah, not bad. All things considered, I've no complaints. Yeah, all things considered.
Good on you. So Sean, for who don't know, and I'm amazed anybody who wouldn't know Sean, is one of the world's leading architectural photographers and interior photographers, and his work's been used, and he travels all over the world taking some amazing pictures. So as part of this series, we're asking the photographers to supply 3 images and the favourite images that they've shot. So not necessarily the one that's gained them the most money or notoriety, it's what they enjoyed shooting, and we're going to ask them why. So Sean, just before we do that, can you just tell us a little bit about your business and explain to the members what you do?
Yeah, I'm an architectural interior photographer. Also do a bit of annual report and advertising photography as well. I'm very lucky that my job takes me all around the world, although I'm not going to be going too far at the moment, unfortunately. So I get into some really interesting places to shoot pictures, yeah, definitely. But yeah, photography's been my life since I left school. I've been a photographer my entire career. And I hate to say it, but I've been in business now for 32 years, so it's scary, really. You know what I mean? Just
and very much like me, Sean, your kind of career after college, you did a little while on cruise ships as a cruise ship photographer.
Absolutely, we have the badge. We're all in the same club. Yeah, absolutely.
What happened on ships stays on ships, though. That's right, isn't it? That's
absolutely. But no, I've got great memories of cruise ships, and it let me earn the initial money to set my business up as well. So let's not take that away from it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I met lots of great people, great characters. And there is something about any cruise ship photographer. I'm sure you'll agree with this. We're all in the same club. You know, there's a certain work ethic and everything.
Yeah, absolutely. Work hard and fly hard.
Yeah, very proud to have been on the ships. Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to take a look at the images that you sent us. So I'm just going to kind of swap my screens around. So just give me 1 second to do that. And we're going to start with this one here, which is an amazing photograph shot.
Yeah, this picture, when you said choose your 3 favourite photographs, I found that quite difficult, Martin. I'll be brutally honest with you. But
It's all so good. Is that what you're saying, Sean?
No. I've took photographs that I'm very happy with, and also there's other connections to them. Like this shot, that I actually shot this for Hasselblad. It was commissioned for Hasselblad when they launched the 60 megapixel camera. And,
we forgot to mention, actually, you're one of the worldwide Hasselblad ambassadors as well, aren't you? So.
Yeah, well, they use the word influencer now, which generally but yeah, absolutely. I'm heavily involved with Hasselblad, Linhoff, Bronckler, and it's great to have relationships with the companies. They help me a lot, and I help them in the way I can, you know, so it's a great relationship. So this was shot for the campaign to launch the 60 megapixel Hasselblad camera some years ago. At the Burj Al Arab in Dubai. I went with Paul Waterworth. Some of you may know him. He was the global photographic liaison manager at the time. And it was a fantastic trip, a lot of great memories, and great to photograph the Burj, which subsequently I've been back, done more photography there. So it's led to more business as well, which has been great. But this is, I love twilight photography and early twilight. And so this is why this image is in there, for those reasons, and for the reason that it's very much one of my twilight style shots. So the sort of shot where you have to get there well in advance of that moment actually happening. So everything's set up and you're ready for that perfect moment when the light's just perfect. I mean, I probably took about 10, 11 frames of this shot, but this was the best shot by quite a margin, to be fair. Some of the shots were good, but not quite as good as this particular shot. So the light just worked really, really beautifully. So only just after sunset, you can see there's quite a bit of light coming in from the left. Used a very long exposure over 30 seconds to get the nice motion in the water and just the balance of the lights. It's quite a common shot of the Burj in a way, this angle.
Yeah.
But I'm really pleased with the light on this shot, and I got a really lot of good comments. And it's a picture that goes down really, really well with clients. Another reason why I've chosen it, really. It's always a very popular.
And the movement in the water, it kind of leads you around, doesn't it, to the hotel? It's
Absolutely. And it works well it's been used a lot. This is a double page spread, as you can imagine. Type on the left-hand side works really, really well. And the colour, the blue in the sky, some of you may be aware, if you've been out to Arabia, that you get quite a lot of sand pollution in the air. It creates some really unusual light effects, which I think on this day we were lucky we got some really lovely, lovely light.
And from a technical point of view, with the Hasselblad, a 60 megapixel, did you have camera movements on this one? Did you a shift lens, or did you what was the?
This particular shot was actually taken on the Hasselblad HTS adapter, which is like an adapter that fits on the Hasselblad camera and allows you to put different lenses onto it, and then gives you a certain amount of camera movement. I actually normally use a Linhof camera to give more movements in the picture.
Yes.
But on this particular picture, I use the HTS adapter. So there is some shift movement on this, yeah.
And the hotel, I believe, I know it's a very common picture that people probably, they'll know the hotel, but is it still, I think it's still the only 7-star hotel in the world. Is that right? Or?
Well, that was, I think it was a journalist that said that. I don't think there is such thing as a 7-star.
Oh, okay. It has an underwater restaurant, doesn't it? I've seen some of your images with the
luxury is amazing in the hotel, absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Like I said, I went back only a couple of years ago to shoot the new pool deck area for a totally different client at the back that was all manufactured in Finland. And I've been there a few times taking pictures. It's a great place to shoot pictures.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful, Sean. So move on to your next image.
And this picture again, this is in Bimini, which is in the Bahamas. I've done quite a few shoots in the Bahamas, but I'll be honest, I hate to say, I didn't even know Bimini existed. It's only a Bahamian island, only 50 miles off the coast of Miami. So you fly in by flying boat to this. It's owned by the Genting groups. There's a hotel, a casino. It's a very small island. There's hardly any cars on the island. There's a police car, funnily enough. So you get around on golf buggies. And it was a really memorable trip. This was one of them trips where everything just went right. And I like to show this picture again. This is another picture I'm very proud of. It's also a popular picture, and it's a way of handling an interior space, which is probably my speciality, interior photography, and my favourite area of architectural photography. And it's dealing with large glazed areas where you've got lots of daylight coming into the space, and just handling that correctly. I was very lucky when I did this shoot. Before I even went out to the Bahamas, the client and we discussed the areas he wanted to photograph, or she wanted to photograph, I should say, in the hotel. And with the apps that you can take now, which will tell you anywhere in the world where the sun rises and the sun sets, we could plan all the sun tracks before we even got to the hotel. So there was only probably about 10 minutes when the light was perfect like this, where it was spilling into the space, not too high, so it's creating all these interesting shadows on the floor, and not too low, so it doesn't do that. So it's, again, a question of being in the right place at the right time. Yeah.
And another thing that I've heard you say, Sean, in some of your seminars or when I've been talking to you, it's interior photography is a little bit about taking an image and a lot about moving furniture around.
Absolutely spot on. We've got here myself and the client's daughter, who, when I say she's daughter, she's a lady, young girl in her early 20s. We must have spent a good hour rearranging all that furniture, not also just from an aesthetic point of view, but also in terms of its position from the lens. Take the settee in the foreground, because it's quite a wide lens this picture's taken on. This is on the Linhof camera now with the Hasselblad digital back on, so we're using quite a lot of shift and a little bit of tilt just to keep it sharp throughout the image. But that settee in the foreground, if you move it a couple of feet too close to the lens, it'll start to distort. Too far away and you won't quite have the drama of it. So positioning the furniture in relation to the lens is also critical, as well as the artistic positioning. We've also got a little bit of flash lighting going on there. Just in this case, only fill lighting, because the available light was so beautiful, but there's still a little bit of flash fill going into the picture.
And to be able to balance that with the ambient light that you've got on the posts and towards the left-hand side of the image as well, that must be quite a trick with that much daylight coming in and to balance that the Kelvin values of those and the tungsten light must have been quite a trick.
Absolutely. This is again where the flash comes in, because it's daylight balanced. It will work with the daylight, and you're spot on, because if we'd half an hour later, there'd have been so much daylight spilling into this space that we'd have needed so much flash equipment to control it. We couldn't fit it all in a little flying boat we got to the island on. So timing's very critical, really, for this sort of shot. And it's a bit like the shot in Dubai before. It's preparation. So you're in the right place, you've got your shot all set up, and you can make the most of that light when it's at its best. Yeah. One of my old bosses in London used to say, 50% more effort sometimes to only get another 5-10% more improvement in your image. But it's so important to be able to do that.
Yeah, perfect. Wonderful image, Sean.
Yeah, I really like that picture. Yeah.
I love it. It's superb. Now, this is just amazing. So I kind of know where this is. You're quite a a famous test bed for you, isn't it?
This is one of my absolute favourite spaces. It's the world famous Blackpool Tower Ballroom. I've photographed this probably 3 times properly with full lighting effect like this. This was actually not taken on a Hasselblad. This was taken on a Fuji GFX camera. I did a test shoot for Fuji when they launched that camera, and on the 23mm lens. But here this is why again I've picked this picture, because it's one of my favourite spaces, and also because unlike the picture in Bimini in Bahamas, we've now got a space where with no daylight at all coming into the space, we're just dealing with the light in the space. It's also an Edwardian space, so the available light in the space is quite dim. So we're having to put a lot of flashlight. So we've got 10 Broncolor flash units lighting the entire space up, including the 2 main lights, which are really doing the biggest job, are the para reflectors that Broncolor make. We've got a para 88 lighting across the ceiling, and we've got a para 133, which is a slightly bigger one with a wider spread coming from the floor up. They are amazing reflectors. They throw light over incredible distances. And then we've got another 8 lights hidden throughout the space to light and balance all the different areas of the space. But
John, this was one shot, or did you
yeah,
have
one shot. So all 3 pictures are one shot. I confess I haven't got a great deal of Photoshop skills. I learned photography in the era of 4:5 transparency, so we had to get it right in the camera. It's just, that's the way we took pictures. I've nothing against manipulation, post-production, compositing. It's great, but it's not really my skill set. So because I shoot things very similar to the way I shoot things on tranny. And don't get me wrong, there's sometimes when a bit of post can get you out of trouble, don't get me wrong, but 95 out of 100 it's in camera, so that's just one shot.
That is amazing. And so that amount of the transformers must have felt it when you hit it with that much light in that room.
Well, believe it or not, all the flashes we used, the Broncolor flashes, were battery powered. Can you believe that? Lithium battery powered. So the 2 big changes for me in my career, after digital photography, I should say, but the other 2 big things are lithium battery powered flash units, which you can take anywhere, and radio synchronization. So if you can imagine, some of these heads, flash heads and packs, are well away from any line of sight, which you used to use infrared in the old days. So it's radio, so everything fires exactly when you want it to be. And the Broncolor units are so controllable. You can take 10 joules out, you can put 10 joules in, and totally consistent, which is really important and incredibly efficient, because as I'm sure you can imagine, that's also 100 ASA at f11 and a third. So there's a heck of a lot of flash power going in there.
Yeah, that's incredible. Yeah, beautiful, beautiful picture.
I love that space. It's that's my home. I was born in Blackpool, so it's a very special place. If you're in Blackpool, please visit the Tower Ballroom. Please visit it. It's an amazing space. Amazing. Okay.
And we also asked you to dig out a picture that inspired you. So I'm going to bring up on that screen, and maybe you can tell us why and how that's. Which is it is an amazing shot straight away, isn't it?
This is just sublime. What a photograph! This is my pin-up boy, Jules Schulman. I'm sure a lot of people will recognise this photograph. I think it's in the top 100 most recognised photographs of the century or something. He was in the right place at the right time after the war, and the way LA was starting to build up, and there was a lot of really interesting architects at the time, and these were model houses built to show new styles of architecture. But just the lighting control, you can see how, and bearing in mind this is all shot on very large format film, no post-production, again, one shot. In fact, his famous punchline was, they call me One Shot Schulman because I get it in one shot. That was his punchline. There's loads of films of him on YouTube. He's an amazing. He was still taking photographs into his 90s, believe it or not, using a Zimmer frame with his assistant. Incredible. But it's just so evocative, the use of the models, the use of the light, the drama, the way he draws you into the picture. I mean, I always like to see drama in a photograph. My hands are moving now, even though you can't see me. I get quite impassioned and dramatic, and it's just lovely to see that drama and using light not just to balance a picture, but to add elements, like in the Tower Ballroom, because we're putting that flash in there. Not only is it balancing the space, but it's bringing the colours, the depth, the textures, the feel of the gilt. It's bringing the surfaces out, as Jules has in this picture here.
I'm guessing there is a flash that is hidden with that down strut in the middle of the glass. But it's still cleverly done, isn't it? Even if that's what is the case. And you're right, you can see some of the shadows from the plant pot on the left-hand side and that. So and to get again the ambient light as it has done is just it really is an amazing image.
And remember, back then he'd have been using flash bulbs, not flash units, flash bulbs. So he'd have had no more.
He wouldn't have been able to see the back of it, would he? He wouldn't have been able to say, oh, "I've not quite got it one shot or not." It was, not until you had that processed that whether you
admire them with these big cameras, getting set up in positions, getting into these situations, and lighting things with flash bulb. It's just amazing. I've got such admiration for these photographers, and I think it must have been a very exciting time with so much happening and changing, at that particular time. And he's captured that, particularly with California, LA. He also shot other spaces in America, but Los Angeles is what he's best known for. So
brilliant shot, brilliant.
It is an inspiring picture, isn't it? What do you think?
Yeah, I absolutely love it. Yeah, and you're right. It's kind of one of these images that you've seen 100 times, but when you talk to somebody like yourself who actually knows and I never thought about it, but the flash bulbs, of course, and it being on a 5.4 or 10.8 slide film camera. It's just
probably 5.4 or 5.7, I would guess.
Yeah, beautiful. So we've got a couple of minutes left, Sean, and I've been asking the people that we've been talking to. Obviously, we're going to go through some difficult times, and successful photographers like yourself have probably been through recessions and things, and I know it's not completely the same, but if you had to give any advice to our members out there to get through the next few weeks, what would that be? Because I know that you're a very, very positive guy as well. You're always, as I am, the glass is all half full. So
absolutely, I think it's incredibly important to be positive at all times. Totally positive about everything you do. Because if you're not positive in a positive attitude, how can you expect your clients to feel like that if you're not going to bubble about that? But at the moment, in what we're going through now, this is just absolutely unprecedented. I mean, it's just incredible. So it's more important than ever to keep positive and moving forward. I mean, obviously, I'm not working much at the moment. My overseas works, I just had some really good shoots coming up, particularly in the cruise industry, which is now, who knows how long before that's going to happen. But it's important in this period now, I think, to be doing your marketing, your networking, and your promotion, whichever way you want to pronounce that, I suppose. For me, it's very important. I'm a great believer in, again, because I'm a bit old school, maybe in talking to people. So I'm spending 2 or 3 hours each day now. I'm sort of planning my days out that I'm on the phone talking to clients around the world, keeping in touch, finding out what they're up to. And I can't tell you how many people are absolutely delighted to hear from you because they're isolating at the moment. They're sat at home. So to get somebody on the phone and have a chat, can be really interesting. It's worked really well for me. And funny enough, I had a client on just before the meeting today who was on about us doing some film projects of empty buildings to help promote them to people. So obviously, and again, it all started from a conversation a few days ago, and it might lead to some shoots we can do through this very, very difficult time. So you can't beat communication. Communication is so important, and that I'm a great believer in speaking to people, or Zoom. I've done it with Zoom and other different ways, like we're doing it now too. We've had quite a lot of Zoom meetings as well with clients discussing different projects.
Yeah, well, that's good. And I quite like the idea that you're structuring your day. And I know I spoke to you earlier today, and you're kind of doing 2 or 3 hours in the office, getting in your garden because you've got a lovely big garden that you do a bit of stuff out there, and just to keep in almost a routine of doing some work and keeping positive and enjoying, if you can, as much as we can, enjoy the few weeks that we're going to have where we can't do much of anything else really.
I think that's really important. And I think also, like I say, I've tried to schedule my day. I've always been an early riser. Get up in the morning, get yourself showered, get home, just like you're going to go to work, and then split your day up doing different things. But I think it's also important to get out in the fresh air. If you're in a city, get out and do a walk. It's just for your well-being. You've got to think about yourself in this situation as well too. And again, the more you speak to people, you get buzz off them, they get buzz off you, and it moves things forward. Don't get me wrong, I'm also doing stuff, working on a new portfolio, which Jeremy Graffy's helping me with at the moment. I'm working on improving my website at the moment with the guys over there at SmugMug, and various other things, and also general marketing, looking at some maybe email campaigns, trying to get things in place for when things do start to come back to normal, we're ready to hit the ground running and going at that. But the number one for me is talking to clients and keeping in touch with clients. We're all still working together. And one of the agencies I do a lot of work for, I was talking to the art director from there the other day, and he was saying the same thing. He's doing it with his clients too. Yeah. We've got to be positive. And also, the big thing I've loved is through the Institute, what you guys are doing and what Jeremy's been doing at Graphy as well, too, with a lot of these Zoom conversations. I've really enjoyed them, watching all the people and listening to what people have got to say. It's like a bit of a photography fix, isn't it? You know what I mean? And I know you had Scott doing a print critique last night. It was absolutely brilliant, you know. So that's where I think our organisations, at times like this, the organisations are more important than ever for me, for this connection. We're all, because, you know, let's face it, as photographers, we're all pretty much on our own in our own little boxes. I know we've got our families with us, thank God, but you know, we need a bit of our photography fix, and I think through the association, I'm also speaking to other photographers, not just clients as well too. So I should mention that too.
Brilliant, Sean. That's been fantastic. Thanks so much for your time and brilliant images that you've shown us, and thanks for sharing that with us.
Pleasure. Thank you very much, and please everybody have a look at some more Jules Schulman's work if you get time. Thanks a lot, Mike. All the best now.
Thanks, Sean.
And stay safe. Stay safe, yeah.